Welcome to The Journey is Real. I'm CJ Peterson, where we talk to real people with real passions who share a real portion of the heart. My guest today is Lydia Mann. Lydia Mann's passions is actually summer camps, and that's kind of a unique one. So I want to thank you for coming on, Lydia.
Love to be here, thanks.
And you have a wide variety of experience with summer camps. Would you please share some of that?
Well, for the last 30 years, I have been with a company called CampTV. That's our little logo right up there.
Those who are listening, she does have a little logo. You can
sorry, I forget that some of this is just audio. And our website is camptv.net. And so if you want to check us out, feel free. But for the last 30 plus years, I have worked with summer camps telling their stories on video. And I've worked with summer camps from like the small mom and pop camp that was started 100 years ago, that's still going. And like their biggest session during the summer, they'll have maybe 130 kids. I've worked with the big sports camps. I've worked with the traditional summer camp up in New England who, the kids go to camp there all summer and, all that. So I've been, and I've worked with religious camps and non-religious camps. I've worked with almost every kind of summer camp there is.
How did it start? How did your journey start with summer camps?
Well, back in 1988, the spring semester of 1988 at the University of North Texas, I saw an ad on our, intern board that said, "Hey, summer videographers wanted for summer camp. Call this number." And so I did. I interviewed with CampTV, and that was only their second summer in business. The video company started in 1987, and I jumped on board in 88. Little did I know that it would become such an integral part of my life. But I love being creative. I love working with summer camps. I love working with kids. Camp directors are some of the nicest, coolest, most passionate people on the planet.
Basically, when you go to work, you play.
Yeah, pretty much. I've been very, very fortunate that most of my wardrobe consists of summer camp t-shirts. In fact, I'm wearing one right now. And, it's just fun. Very rarely have I ever had to put on a suit and high heels. When I go to work, it's usually jeans or shorts and a camp t-shirt.
So how did it come about that summer camps is actually your passion? What makes it your passion?
Well, summer camp, the impact that summer camp has on children across the board is amazing. I've worked with camps who take, inner city youth who don't get a chance to be out in the countryside. They spend a week or two at a summer camp. I've also, like I said, I've also worked with the big, traditional camp where the kids whose parents are pretty well off, send their kid there for the whole summer. Hands down, the summer camp experience for a child teaches so many things. They gain self-confidence. They learn independence. We talk about self-esteem and all that kind of stuff. At camp, they earn their self-esteem. They learn to make their own bunk. They learn to sweep a cabin. They learn to work as a team with their different tribes or teams or whatever they call it at that particular camp, to earn points to win whatever it is they win. At some of my camps, they win a blanket, and at some of my camps, they win the feather. Some of it's called the Olympics, so they have Olympic teams. But they learn to work together as a team and also to sacrifice maybe a little bit of themselves for the good of the team, which is a very important lesson that we all have to learn when as we mature.
Mhm. Now, over the years, you said you've been 30 years. Have there been any stories that have stood out to you over that time?
Oh, heck yeah. Um, you know, these these summer camp directors and staff that I work with, we've really done life together. And what I mean by that is that, we've celebrated kids being born, people getting married. We've walked the journey together as, parents have aged and have passed away. And just, we've done life together. And like I said, summer camp people are some of the best people on the planet. They're 99.99% of them are super caring. Yes, summer camp is a business. I mean, you got to keep the doors open, but they will move heaven and earth to help someone. And some of my camps that I've worked with in the past, like up in the Northeast, when 2011 happened, I mean 9/11, 2001 happened. 9/11 happened. Several of my camps that I worked with at the time, I knew had families that probably had parents in the Twin Towers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so hard not to pick up the phone that day. I forced myself to wait about a week, but then I started checking in. I'm like, are your families okay? And a couple of the camps that I worked with back in the day, they even opened their doors the next spring for families and survivors to come and just bring their families and spend time together at their summer camp at no cost.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what and that's what I'm saying. Like, summer camp people are just awesome.
Okay. Now,
And
you represent a lot of different camps. And some
I
of
do.
those are fun. Some are girl camps, some are boy camps, but some are specifically a little bit more, what's the word I want?
Special needs.
Special needs.
Yeah.
For special needs, but also for like cancer, I believe is one of them as well.
Yes.
Could you
yes.
share some of the stories of the kids? You've talked about the directors, but camp is about the kids, and that's kind of where
Well, I have been so blessed over the years to be able to work with some of the camps that work with special needs campers. Camp John Mark, that's in Meridian, Texas, they host camps with kids who have cancer, spina bifida, you name it. There's probably a camp week out there that they work with kids. I've also worked with Texas Lions Camp down in Kerrville. Again, they're a special needs camp. They take cancer survivors. They take Down syndrome kids. They take, kids in wheelchairs, kids facing cancer. And
that particular week gives that kid a chance to be normal
oh my gosh, I can't, the statistics, just Google them, but you can find all kinds of statistics on the impact of a summer camp experience on a child who is struggling with, say cancer or another diagnosis. In the past couple of years, I've been working with an organization called COCA, and it's the Children's Oncology Camping Association International. Mm-hmm. And obviously, with a name like that, they support cancer camps. And I've been blessed to work with some of them making videos for their various programs, whether it's fundraising videos or informational videos, staff training videos. And I guess one of the stories that's really close to my heart is, it was the summer of 2017. Mm-hmm. I was working on a video for COCA and went to Camp Discovery, which is at Texas Lions Camp, 1 week during that summer. And I met a little girl who was in the last stages of cancer. It was clear she was not gonna survive much longer. God bless her parents that she wanted to go back to camp, and they made it happen. Can you imagine being a parent and allowing your child to be away from you for a week at the end of their life? But that's how important that camp experience was for that little girl. And I was blessed to meet her, when I was just there filming for the video that we were working on. And little did I know at the time, I didn't know at the time that she was in the last stages. I knew she was very sick. I mean, you could look at her and just know this kid's sick. But she was having a blast, and I'll never forget, they had a Star Wars themed night, and they brought in some Star Wars cosplay people from San Antonio.
Oh, awesome.
And it was the coolest dance I've ever been to at any summer camp. And I'm filming like crazy. And, Darth Vader and, all these other people come marching in, and they did a lightsaber duel in the middle of the dance floor. And it was just a blast. Those kids were having a ball. And at one point, one of the funniest stories I've heard from that night is this little girl runs up to her counselor and hands her juice box to her counselor and says, "Hold my juice box. I've got to go duel Darth Vader." And so, it's magical moments like that where the kids who are fighting a challenge like cancer get to just be a kid. Every kid there at that camp that week had either fought cancer or was fighting it, or was a sibling of a child who was fighting it. So, they've been there, done that. And it's extraordinary to sit around at lunch and just be, having lunch with these campers and talking to them. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I had chemo 5 times. Oh, I only had to have it twice. Oh, I had to have it 7 times." I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the biggest wimp in the world compared to these children.
Right.
They just, they talk about surgeries and I got this port and I got this and that, like it's no big deal. And I'm like,
because everybody there is
just like them. Yeah. And it's like, if they don't have any hair this year, well, guess what? Their friend from last year didn't have any hair last year, and she's got her hair back, or he's got his hair back. So it's, it's very encouraging for these kids. But this one little girl that I mentioned, she loved Ladybugs. That was her thing. She loved Ladybugs. And so like every art project she did, Ladybugs, 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 Ladybugs. Well, the camp is part of the COCA organization, and they make quilts they make a quilt every year that represents the various camps, and each camp can send in a little fabric square that the kids have decorated. And so they gathered up all the squares after camp was over. They sent them off to this sweet little lady that is outside of Austin, and she makes the quilts. They had no contact with her about choosing the fabrics that would go together with the quilts or anything. Well, lo and behold, this little girl that loved Ladybugs, she passed away while the quilt was being made. And also, lo and behold, this quilt had ladybugs all over it.
Aww.
She had picked the material, that would bind the little squares together, and it had ladybugs. And so when the camp director got the quilt back, he looked at it and just burst into tears. And he called the lady and said, "Did you know the story of, this one little camper we had?" And, she's like, "No, I just thought ladybugs looked cute." Well, fast forward a couple of months to November, and COCA, the Children's Oncology Camping Association was having their annual meeting, and they auction off the quilt to raise money for the organization. Well, someone in the audience purchased the quilt for several $1,000s, and then immediately handed it back to the camp director.
Aww.
Now, the camp director, his name is Joey Cavazos. He used to be an undercover cop in San Antonio. He's like, you could take 3 of him, like stacked shoulder to shoulder to me, and you would have Joey. Just, I mean, he just, and he's totally in shape. So I mean, he could probably bench press a truck.
Heavens.
But he's got the heart. He's got a heart bigger than Texas. He really does. And he loved this little girl. I mean, all campers are precious, but there was just something, he had this connection with this little girl. So when they gave him the quilt back, of course, there's not a dry eye in the house. So he brings it back to San Antonio, and he's talking to his wife, and he's talking to some of the staff, and they said, no, this little girl's parents need this quilt. So about a week before Christmas, Joey and I flew to outside of Washington, D.C., where this family lives now. And we presented this quilt to her family. And I was, honored to be asked to come along, and we documented it. So I literally just turned the camera on. I asked very few questions. I just let the story develop.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just beautiful. And to see the love and compassion and strength and pain in this family's eyes as they are talking about their precious daughter that they've lost. It was one of those, it's one of those moments in life where, if you could write the script, you could never even write that. And so we got home, we literally flew up, did the presentation, filmed interviews with the mom, the dad, and the big brother and big sister, went and had lunch, and then we flew home. It was a very long day. And since we were coming up on the Christmas holidays, I literally just had to put that footage on the shelf. I couldn't touch that footage for about 3 or 4 weeks. And then I finally got the footage out, and I edited the video for the camp and the parents and everything. But it's moments like that, like I said, I couldn't write that script. I've seen, kids who, maybe don't have an illness, but, maybe they have never tried anything, really challenging. And I've seen these kids where it's like, they climb a climbing wall. They get on a horse for the first time. And I was one of those little girls. I was in love with horses all my growing up time. And so for me to see a kid who's maybe a little hesitant about getting on a horse, get on a horse and fall in love with it like I did when I was a little girl, that floats my boat.
Well, I'm a former youth leader for about 18 years. And camps to me is great because it pulls kids out of the environment that they're currently in, whether it's a good environment or whether it's not so good environment, and puts them on equal footing. And they can get a lot of work done throughout that week, whether it's just making sure they have 3 meals, or like you said, learning something new, like wall climbing, zip lining, riding horses. But it pulls them out of their environment, and it shows them something new, and it shows them something that they can hold close to their heart. It's obvious that your heart is in with summer camps. Full transparency, Lydia is my sister.
Yes.
We started a publishing company in December, Texas Sisters Press. Can you please share what we're doing for the camps this year?
Yes. I had a wild idea one night, and I called CJ and I said, I got a wild idea, but it's cool, so let's do it. We are going to be working with Texas camps right now, just Texas camps. But we want to do a summer camp anthology. And so what we have announced to a lot of the camps that I work with and have connections with here in the Texas area is that each camp who wants to participate can send a short story that's written by their younger campers, and then another short story that's written by one of their older campers to represent their camp in the camp anthology. And we've also asked if they have a kid who's super, creative and wants to submit a picture that may be used for the cover, then to do that too. Each camp will have its own little section in the anthology, and each camp will say, we're camp whatever, and this is how to get a hold of us, and this is what we do, and this is who we serve. So we're super, super excited about this, especially me, because it's taking my two favorite worlds of summer camp and video and all that stuff, and being an author and a publisher and all that, and sort of smushing them all together. And I was recently at a camping conference for Texas, mainly Texas camps, and that's where we first announced all of this. And all of the camp directors I talked to were super excited about it. Full disclosure, mostly the girls' camps were excited. Well, some of the boys' camps were like, maybe
they are,
maybe. But summer camp is just one of those transformative experiences that I think, whether you went to a 1 week church camp when you were a kid, like I did, and were homesick the whole time, because that's what's so funny is I've been promoting summer camp now for over 30 years, and I was the world's worst camper. I was homesick the whole time. Now, when we went to the few camps that had horses, I was less homesick. Funny how that worked. But, I've brought up, I have a computer sitting behind me, and I brought up the ACA camp website, which is a national camp organization. And they have a little thing on there where it's got the camp statistics they're kind of fun. And there's a section that says campers said that 96% of campers said it helped me make new friends. And 93 said camp helped me get to know kids who are different from me. And, and I think that's something that is so important, because we've got, we've got diversity in everything that we do. And when we come together at summer camp, it's like you said, CJ, you leave all that stuff behind that, is sort of your normal life. The other thing, at all of my summer camps that I work with, no cell phones. So it gets them off the electronics. They learn to speak face to face again. It says 92% of the people at camp help them feel good about themselves. Parents say 70% of the parents say my kid gained self-confidence at camp. 69% say my child remains in contact with friends made at summer camp. And that's the other thing I've seen over the years is the friends these kids make at camp are lifetime friends. I've got this one girls camp I work with down in Kerrville. It's called Kickapoo Camp for Girls. And they are hilarious. I love these ladies. And one of the things that one of the moms said one time when I was interviewing her for a Kickapoo video, she said, in some places, it's which sorority did you go to, or what? No, she said for Kickapoo, it's where did you go to camp? Where are you going to send your daughter to camp? And they've got third and fourth generation now of campers going there. And that's not unusual. I've got camps that have been in the business long enough that they can have 4 generations of kids and campers. Sometimes I've got some camps I work with that it's the third and fourth generation of leadership beginning to take over.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Well, I hate to stop you there. We've got a couple
oh,
things. We only have a few
see,
more
okay,
minutes left.
you get me going about summer camp, I'm gonna go.
I know, that's why it's your passion. But there's a couple things I wanted to touch on. Number one, there's some awesome news regarding Camp TV. Can you share with our listeners what that is?
Well, for 30 more years, I have just worked for Camp TV. It's been part of my heart, and I've helped kind of build the company to, but here recently in 2020, I've now become the owner and director of Camp TV.
Congratulations.
So thank you. It's kind of been handed to me to carry on the torch, and I feel honored and excited and humbled, and it's it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool.
Well,
Plus I get to do what I want.
I'm super excited for you. We have just a few more minutes.
Mhm.
Is there any last minute words that you'd like to add?
Send your kid to camp. It's definitely worth the investment, and that really is what it is. It's an investment.
Hmm.
And like I said, it doesn't matter whether it's the 1 week church camp that go with your local church group, or you go to a YMCA sponsored camp. Even if it's just day camp is an important experience as well, especially with the younger kids. As kids get older, they can handle that. I'm being away from parents for a week or two or three or four.
Hmm.
And it's amazing, because when I first started working with camps and these kids would go off to camp for like 4, 6, 8, 9 weeks, I'd think, oh my gosh, aren't they a little young for that? But it's amazing, after about the first week, they get into the routine of, this is camp, mom and dad are fine, I'm fine, um, and they really just blossom.
Hmm.
And I just think it's an experience that is an investment. It is an educational experience. And that's one thing our summer camping industry has to fight for, really, is summer. Because some of the states want to go to year-round schools, or they keep eating into the summer. And there's life lessons and things that you learn at camp that you're just not going to learn in a classroom. It's just
Right.
not going to happen. And so don't see camp as a vacation or something frivolous. I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. That's, number one, it is fun, but it's also, there are so many life lessons and environmental lessons, and, just, there's so many of the sort of unspoken things that happen,
Hmm.
that are so important for kids.
Right. Well, Lydia, I want to thank you so much for your time, because I know you're a busy
Thank you.
beaver. For those interested, Lydia does write books for little readers as well as middle grade readers. You can find her at mannwrites.com. That's MANNWRITES.com. For those interested in Camp TV video, it's CAMPTV.net. Lydia, thank you so much again for your time. We really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your heart with the kids, because the kids are what's important. And that shows through your stories and through what you've told us today, and we want to thank you for that. And thank you for listening to The Journey is Real, where we talk to real people with real passions who share a real portion of their heart. I'm CJ Peterson with cjpetersonwrites.com. Until next time.